Alright, another figure review. It's a guy though. Good grief. What a bummer. I don't know why I'm doing this. Maybe I should just stick with waifu girlies. Okay, let's get this over and done with, whatevs. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Mr. Ken Takakura himself, SHF Transformed Okarun, from Dandadan of course. Let's find out if he's worth it, how he pairs with Miss Momo Ayase, and also just a little on how he compares to Mr. Figma Takakura. The box is kind of colourful. It looks similar but different from Momo's box. They do look good together. And Okarun's box is just a little bit thicker than Momo's. There's some figure shots around the box besides the left side. Out of the box there's a single tray. There's some instructions behind the flap at the back, essentially just telling you what's included and what to be careful of. And here he is, the first dude of the channel. That being said, he is just another action figure. He looks pretty cool, I think. He's a pretty monochrome figure with some red and gold accents. A nice balanced aesthetic though, and I do like his character design, even though you could say it's kinda simple. His yokai uniform is black with some gold buttons, and has some red flared parts around the collar and the waist or tail of the jacket. His lower jacket is a little bit funny, he just kind of floats there like Kazusa's. Otherwise he's got darkish grey skin and white or lighter grey hair with orangish red streaks through his hair and red lines on his face. His hair does look good, however there is not really any shading on it. For his face, it looks good, but it does have that stereotypical SHF anime style, which I think is quite similar to their female figures. What I mean by that is it's a little bit softer and not as sharp or defined as, for example, something like Figma. His eyebrows are stripy black and grey, which I never really noticed in the anime, but it does look good and it's nice to have some extra details as opposed to just single coloured eyebrows. His eyes are of a yellowish red. The feet are nicely detailed as well. Overall, looks pretty cool and pretty much what I remember from the anime. For articulation, his head wobbles around and has decent range. If he looks down too far, his faceplate can be pushed out a little bit. The collar is hard plastic and cut away at the back to allow for more upwards look. His arms raise like this, but are a little bit loose. Apparently it's a common issue. You can rotate it around and mostly get it in any pose you want though. The shoulder also has some range of its own, kind of like a butterfly joint. He can reach forward pretty well. He has double jointed elbows. His wrists move like this. Upper torso movement is super average. The forward bend kind of just bounces back, and so the backwards bend is a lot better. And he can tilt and rotate a bit. His waist does have separate movement. You can combine the waist and torso movement for more range, though he can't really hunch over, which is a bit of a shame. The lower jacket is a floating piece. His legs can split to the sides quite well. He can kick back and forth. He has an upper thigh rotation. His knees bend like this. There is no calf rotation at the pant cuff. And his feet move like this. Articulation is okay, the weakness being the torso, which actually kinda sucks, although you can probably mod it somehow. For accessories, he has 5 faces total. A regular kind of stern face, a looking down on you like you're a piece of trash type face, a shouting face, an angry face, and an angry face where he's looking to the left. He also has 2 of them turbo teethy masks. He has a full mask, and he has a half mask. These are a little bit different, and the half mask isn't just the full one cut in half. The teeth of the half mask are slightly crooked and uneven, which is a cool detail. The full mask is just straight up pearly whites. This is how you attach them. You remove one strand of hair on the right and then kind of just plug it in. The full mask also only plugs in on the right side. If I'm being honest, these are kind of fiddly and actually kind of suck. I'm not sure if it's just my copy, but they don't plug in too well. The full mask is okay, however the half mask pretty much doesn't plug in at all for mine. The color of the masks will absolutely rub off into the face as well, but they do look cool, I guess. Finally, he also has a pair of glasses, which you attach like this. These can be attached to all his faces. Despite feeling a little bit fragile, they do attach well enough. For hands, he has 5 left hands and 6 right hands, a default kind of relaxed grabby hand. He has fisty hands, open hands, kind of also grabby hands, and kind of grabby but open hands which he can do things and stuff with. Finally, there's a pair of adjusting glasses hands. I'd say this is a good variety of hands, however he doesn't have any weapon or object holding hands, which may be an issue because they are not skin colored hands. If you want to compare the Figma Okarun, to me Figma usually feel a bit more premium, which is also reflected in the price. SHF Okarun runs about 7.5k yen and Figma is upwards of 10,000 yen. In US dollars, this would be about $50 versus $65. This is what the Figma Takakura comes with. He does have different hands, as in the SHF doesn't get chopping or running hands. The Figma, however, doesn't have different faceplates, which is a little bit odd. However, there is kind of eye articulation where you swap out these little pieces. The Figma doesn't have a half mask, and I'm also not sure if the glasses can come off. The Figma does have alternate hair parts for a wind-swept look. There's also a turbo granny. For Figma, the lower jacket is also one piece and looks a little bit cleaner than SHF. The Figma also has a full collar with articulation at the back. You could argue that the SHF has a cleaner look at the back, but there is also just no collar. SHF Okarun kind of also looks like he has wider shoulders or lats. This would be due to the different shoulder articulation, which kind of gives a bit more presence to the SHF. The Figma does have a cleaner look, however, with a regular shoulder joint. If you are interested in these and other figures, I will have some links in the description. Oh, and also Okarun is getting a Revoltech. Bro is literally getting the 2B treatment. For height, he's about 16 centimeters, or just over 6¼ inch. Here he is next to Miss Momo Ayase, Vice Captain Hoshina, Captain Mina Ashiro, Frieren, Modernia, Snail Girls, Fiona, and NIKKE stuff. If you're wondering, he can kind of carry SHF Momo. It looks okay, not the best because of the lower jacket part, as well as that articulation for both of them is just not very good. You can kind of have her a little bit lower and closer to Okarun's face, however the collar will kind of get in the way. Here's some other random poses. Figure itself is okay, however the torso articulation is of course not very good, as well as that there's just some other little problems. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you again next time, I guess.